Okay, so here are the three big stories for today. It is January 18th. So the big story, the biggest one, is that here's St. Javelin showing a drone that's going over to St. Petersburg. Here is the oil refinery. It's supposed to have hit, but I didn't see any images of anything burning or smoke plumes or anything like that. Doesn't mean that it's not there. I just didn't see it. Here's the type of drone that was being sent. Here's the distance as we're looking between Ukraine and where it was going and where it was targeting. And this is Vladimir Putin's home near St. Petersburg that it apparently flew over. Now, the interesting thing is that this drone actually cost only something like $350 a piece. I mean, that's crazy inexpensive, and it can fly 1,250 kilometers. For those of you who speak American English and only think in terms of mile, that's 776 miles. Okay, so our second story, Johnson gets squeezed by Biden, Senate GOP on Ukraine border. I want to show you where they actually are in the deal. The speaker doubled down on his criticism Wednesday morning, telling reporters, "I don't think now is a time for comprehensive immigration reform because we know how complicated that is." Now, that tells me they're not trying to solve everything. They're just trying to triage and get some kind of movement. So if you think that they're just trying to create a political something that we can't solve, I don't think that's it. He called for more time for the talks to play out and made another pitch for H.R. 2, the Secure Border Act, in which the House passed without any Democrat votes. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, however, has called that bill a non-starter. But there is some hope. Here's a Fox News article. The vote could come very soon. I am more optimistic now that we can come to an agreement on the border and Ukraine in one package, along with aid to Israel, along with humanitarian aid for Palestinians in Gaza, and along with helping Indochina, Schumer said. "I put the chances as a little bit greater than half now, and that's the first time I can say that." McConnell also, that was Schumer saying that, McConnell also called it a constructive discussion and added a deal could be on the floor next week. I'm telling you, there's a process. They just have to work through the process. But I don't think that the Republicans and Mike Johnson are trying to have something that they can't actually fix. I think that's the way. I recognize a lot of Democrats think that way. I don't think that's what's happening. I think they're just working through natural processes. Okay, last thing. This is the book The Showman by Simon Schuster, a review of that book. And I thought it was terrible. Volodymyr Zelenskyy would make a tremendous hero in an undemanding Hollywood movie along the lines of Independence Day. Mr. Ordinary saves the nation. If Russia's ugly, wholly unnecessary war against Ukraine were something out of a blockbuster, the eighth reel would see Crimea falling to Ukraine's victorious armed forces, Putin being chased out of office by a democratic uprising, and Zelenskyy going back to be a television comedy star with his wife and children standing in the darkness behind the studio cameras, watching in loving admiration. That last bit could still happen, but probably not the rest of it. It's pretty dark, gloomy review, and the reviewer is not any better than the actual book itself from what I have read here. The Showman is far more intimate and much better informed biography than most politicians get from journalists. Schuster is an honest and frank biographer, thoroughly equipped for the job. He was born in Moscow, the son of a Ukrainian father who had grown up near Zelenskyy's hometown and a Russian mother. But he's also the guy that wrote this Time magazine hit piece on Zelenskyy some time back, using a source that wasn't a really good source because he had an axe to grind against Zelenskyy, and this really gave Zelenskyy a hard time and kind of a tailspin in public image and relations. So I'm not sure that I'll be looking at The Showman. I think this is, the author has a bit of an axe to grind. But it's going to be out there and it's going to do some political damage to him and his reputation and the way that people think about Ukraine. Okay, those are the three big stories for today. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and the coffees, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.